quadratic equations can have 2, 1, or no solutions. So when we talk about solutions, remember that that also can mean roots. We can use the word zeros, or we can use the word x-intercepts. Now, if we use the word x-intercepts, or the phrase x-intercepts, we'll be using an ordered pair to show the two coordinates for the x-intercept. Now, we can say solutions, we can say roots, we can say zeros. Those are definitely all written the same way. X-intercepts means the same, but it's just written differently. So when they say a quadratic equation can have 2 solutions, it could have 2 x-intercepts. When they say one solution, it can have 1 x-intercept. Or if it says no solutions, then it can have no x-intercepts. And the discriminant can give us an idea of whether or not we're going to have 2, 1, or no solutions. The discriminant is the radicand. It is the expression, it's the expression in the radical. So, and that's called the radicand. It is not the radical sign, so it's only b squared minus 4ac. So I'm going to show you how to find the discriminant and determine whether or not we have 2, 1, or no solutions. So here we have y equals x squared minus 6x plus 3. And we have a graph that goes along with that equation. First thing I'm going to do, if I didn't know what the graph looked like, I would come here and I'd say a equals 1, b equals negative 6, and c equals 3. And then I would calculate what b squared minus 4ac is. B squared would be 36 minus 4 times 1 times 3. And I'd have 36 minus 12, which is 48. Now, if I have the square root of 48, I'm going to get 2 answers, right? The square root of 48 would be plus or minus the square root of 48. So we have to think back here and say, okay, well, x equals the opposite of b, and then I'm going to have plus or minus the square root of 48. I'm not going to have b, I'm actually going to have whatever that numerical value is, right? But it's this part right here that's important, because the square root of a positive number is going to give us a value that we're going to either add, we're going to both add and subtract from the opposite of b. So the discriminant is 48, and we have 2 solutions. Okay, so you're going to see a pattern here. You're going to see something different on the next one. Now the next one says y equals x squared minus 6x, this time plus 9. So a equals 1, b equals negative 6, c equals 9. B squared would be 36 minus 4 times a times c. I get 36 minus 36, which is 0. So 0 is the discriminant. And you can see that this only has 1 solution. Very interesting. Very interesting. So the discriminant was 48, which is a positive number, and I got 2 solutions. The discriminant is exactly 0. I only get 1 solution. Let's see what happens on the next one. Y equals x squared minus 6x plus 12. A is equal to 1. b is equal to negative 6, and c is equal to 12. B squared would be 36 minus 4 times a times c. 36 minus 48 is negative 12. So negative 12 is the discriminant. Negative 12 is the discriminant, but this time I have no solution. So there's no solution. There's no x-intercept. No x-intercept. Therefore, no real solution. And I say real because when you get to algebra 2, there is what we call imaginary solutions, but we don't introduce imaginary solutions until algebra 2. So this shows you the different situations. So now I'm going to give you a rule. Here we have the discriminant is negative, so I'm going to go backwards. When the discriminant is negative, you have a parabola that does not cross the x-axis. When the discriminant is 0, so when the discriminant is 0, we had a parabola that just touched the x-axis in one location, exactly one location. And when the discriminant was positive, 48's a positive number. When the discriminant is positive, we have two solutions. So let me show you. Here's one for the discriminant is 0, and here's 2 for the discriminant being positive. So this is how we write that. If the discriminant is greater than 0, so if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, there are two solutions, which means 2 x-intercepts, or 2 roots, or 2 zeros. We can use any one of those words. Then we have b squared minus 4ac equals 0. When b squared minus 4ac equals 0, there is exactly one solution. That means there's one x-intercept. Or I can say 1 root, or I can say 1 0. And then we have no solutions, and that happens when b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. And that means that you don't have any x-intercepts. No real roots, no real zeros. So 0 x-intercepts, or you can say no x-intercepts. So we'll come back and we will just practice using these properties and determine how many solutions our quadratics have.